Out of all the tangible and intangible possessions a person can have, imagination is the most underrated treasure in life. We all fail to acknowledge its true importance in our life just because it cannot be measured or displayed like wealth. Yet everything that exists first had its origin in no other place than someone's imagination. Even Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." But we all mostly neglect this power and let it fade into the background, which often will be the cause for limited creativity and the fear to dream beyond. But those who recognize their ability to imagine and discover that imagination is not merely a gift, but the foundation upon which every meaningful achievement is built, will have far more advantage in their life than those who never allow themselves to acknowledge its value. We were told in scriptures that all things are made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Now you trace back any object you ever know, you cannot help but inevitably arrive at one conclusion where you must accept that before it took form in matter or in a blueprint as a plan, it had its origin in the imagination of the man who brought it into material form. This faculty of human imagination is the God of Scripture, yet we fail to understand this point just because it feels irrational. And as we are also told, with God all things are possible, so with our own imagination we have the power to be anything we desire to be. Now you may desire wealth, there is nothing wrong with it. But to do as most people do, which means trying to get wealthy by fighting circumstances, will never give you the real satisfaction of experiencing what you desire. But this is what most people accustomed to think and do. To explain this, I will categorize the people on this world into three groups. The first group of people is the masses, those you can find at every corner of the street. These people never desire to get wealthy. They mostly assume that wealth is not something they can achieve, or they are prohibited from attaining it, and by any good cause if they do, they really don't know how to achieve it. They simply jump in whatever work they can find or do and start to trade their time and body for money. This process may earn you money to put food on the table or to enjoy once in a while, but will never help you accumulate the real riches. Now there is a second group of people who constantly desire to be wealthy. They learn some good concepts about getting wealth and start investing their money here and there with no proper knowledge of how to really be wealthy. This is why you see most people can invest in a business or can start a business but can never really run it well. And finally, there are people who are from Group 3 who consider themselves the 1% group. And you see these people never really engage in any hard physical labor, and everything they do seems to be successful. These are the people we assume as they possess some supernatural powers, or they inherited at birth few advantages which help them to be wealthy. But that's not the difference, nor does it lie in what they do. It is how they do, not what they do. The evidence for this is all around. You can find two people doing exactly the same thing in same environment with same materials, and yet one fills his counter while the other hopes and prays. These people who turn everything they touch into gold consider themselves the masterminds, and they use the ability of their imagination to manifest their desires with little or no effort. Now mind you, they are not born with any special quality that you have not, but developed within them what you can now develop within you. You have the exact ability and possibilities of what they have got. The use of your own human imagination can transform your life in a way you cannot expect. This is the power which cannot be robbed from you. They may steal everything they can, and they may send you to the deepest dungeons, but they can never really steal your ability to imagine. This imagination is the secret of all achievements. You don't need money, technology, or permission to imagine. A child with a stick in his hand can imagine it as a sword or as a wand, though he's restricted to hold them. An artist can picture his painting even though he got no canvas in front of him, because imagination originates within consciousness. It is not something another person can simply steal, yet enables everyone to manifest marvels. It is like a candle in a lantern. Someone can cover the glass, making the light dim. Someone can move the lantern. Someone can even lock it away. But as long as the flame still burns, the light exists. Imagination is that flame, not always bright, sometimes hidden, but fundamentally generated from within, rather than bestowed from outside. And as long as consciousness remains, the possibility of imagining remains. Now, to be as the third group of persons, you must put this imagination into use. Of course, you cannot use a thing without the knowledge to use it properly. This third group people, who are the 1% people, yet earn double as much as 90% people, never regard this imagination as fantasy. They use this faculty of imagination to create the causes, which in turn turn themselves into effects. The whole human life is cause and effect. Causes produce effects, and effects in turn develop new causes. These people work with causes because they understand the law. Trying to change effects with effects is just like fighting with mirror when the dust is on your face. This is what the whole world is. The entire universe is constantly reflecting the images you create in your imagination. Wealthy people take this law as advantage and constantly imagine the wealth they want to generate. You can do this too. Many probably tried this, but we often see people who complain as all this don't work. They are right, it won't work for them because they don't believe what they do and they stop the process. Now, how can you conclude it won't work if you are not in the process anymore? If you ask them this question, you will find that they have no proper answer. The vision has its own appointed day. It may take 5 days, 50 days, or sometimes just 50 minutes. You don't know that, neither do I, but you have to remember you will reap exactly what you sow. Wealthy people just don't apply this knowledge, they live it. They imagine the things they desire so keen that they could not differentiate for reality. This is the core secret which many fail to understand. The reality we experience is always a reflection, but if your imagination impresses the idea that you want a thing, or that you lack its presence in your life, your experiences correspond to that same impression, and lack is what constantly manifests in your life. This is why we are told, believe that you have received it and it will be yours, not that you will receive it, but as you already received it. This is how people who manifest top life imagine. They imagine the things they desire as if they are already accomplished facts and never allow themselves to give any thought to anything, person, or event. This is what you must do in order to acquire what your heart desires. To be wealthy is a complete and most perfect aim. To do it in this way is to save yourself the toil of decades. To imagine a thing from it, rather of it, is the secret of all success, and the wealthy people are those who discipline themselves to stay in this pattern regardless of all outside noise. They do this not like daydreaming, but with faith in their vision. With this mechanism, including proper faith, you can transform your life from a barren land to a fruitful garden. Your imagination is not your escape from reality, it is the blueprint from which reality is built. So from this moment on, consciously analyze what is running in your imagination. Develop your imagination to such a state where you can see the life you want as if it already belongs to you. Feel the gratitude, take the necessary action every day, and remain patient while the unseen becomes seen. Thank you. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep imagining, keep believing, and keep becoming the person your future is waiting for.